Hey, I'm Tyler.
And I'm Katie.
You're listening to Not-Stalgia. It's Katie and Tyler and Too Much Podcast.
Ooh.
Kate.
Is there such a thing? Yes, there is.
Oh, definitely. We've been there.
There was one snowy day where you made me watch like 7 shows in a row, and I was just done.
It was early. We began this podcast during a blizzard, I think, right?
Where it was a very snowy winter.
Snowed in for weeks, maybe a week. And yeah, we were recording the first batch of episodes, and maybe around like episode 4 or 5, I was like, oh, maybe we can record like 2 back-to-back. And we quickly learned that was, in fact, Too Much Podcast. We stopped. It was the Powerpuff Girls episode. We stopped very early into it and then came back to it a day or 2 later. Anyway, Kate, what are your memories, associations, experiences with...
This way to Bear Country. You'll know when you're there. As soon as you enter, you'll feel like a bear. A great grizzly bear. A Berenstain bear. We are the Berenstain Bears.
Mama!
Papa!
Sister! Brother!
We appreciate each other. We live in a split level tree.
Mama, Papa, sister, and me. Snug as buds in our split level tree.
Here are more Berenstain Bears.
Factual.
Big Paw Bear.
Professor Oak. Oh, who's Key Honeybutter? I'm the mayor.
And lots more.
Bears galore!
You may think that this starts our show. Well, it does.
The Berenstain Bears. Am I saying that right?
I don't know. I think.
Do you say the Steen or do you say the Stain?
Berenstain.
Berenstain. Okay, how have the Berenstain Bears influenced you in your childhood?
Okay, this was actually a big influence for me. I'm so interested that you're putting it out there. Is this a me episode or a you episode?
It's more you.
It's all about me.
Yeah, as usual.
I had lots of Berenstain Bears books, and we read lots of them growing up. I think there was maybe like 1 or 2 video cassettes that like we'd get from the library that had like weird animation, but it was like pictures, but then the picture would move.
Oh.
But it was like a snapshot and then another snapshot,
Wow.
so it was like jerky.
Uh-huh.
That's really it. Read a lot of books. Had a good time.
Well, Kate, I'm going to hand you some books. Take a look. Tell us what you're seeing. Oh, this one has a note on top.
Oh.
Do you want to just read the whole note?
Okay, so the first one is the Berenstain's baby book, and the note on top reads, and I'm going to read you the whole thing, so get comfy. We are often asked which of our books is our favorite. This is the story of how our first and favorite book came to be. The year was 1946. We were a young couple just starting our married and professional lives together. The male member of our team was just out of World War II Army. The female member was just off a war job as a Rosie the Riveter in an aircraft factory. The first 2 pieces of furniture we bought were a drawing table and a bed. Being former art students, we decided to try magazine cartooning because it was something we could do together. Oh, these 2 are obsessed with each other, just like us. Oh, man. It was a struggle. But after a year of rejections, we began to break into major magazines such as the Saturday Evening Post and Collier's. We were living in a railway flat over an Army-Navy store in Southwest Philadelphia. We drew cartoons all day and walked the floor all night with Leo, the first of our 2 sons. We were poor, but happy. Then one fine day we received a letter from a New York editor, himself just out of the Marines and the war in the Pacific. It said, quote, "Dear Berenstains, I have been enjoying your magazine cartoons. I think you have a book in you. Any ideas?" End quote. It was signed Al Hart Jr. Yes, we replied, we did have an idea. We really wanted to do a book about what having and parenting a baby was really like, and we wanted to call it the Berenstain's Baby Book. The young editor sent us a contract. So never having written anything longer than a cartoon caption, we went out and bought a typewriter, went to work, and produced our first and favorite book. This is the book. So here I am. I'm looking at their first and favorite book that they made together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this predates, obviously, the Bears.
I would like to note they are not real bears.
Stan and Jan?
Yeah, Stanley and Janice.
They're humans.
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying.
So I'm looking at this book. You can hear my book-looking noises.
Pages flapping.
It's so funny because I think that we think this a lot. So this book is written in 1951, and everything is pretty much the same. There's a whole chapter entitled The Grandparent Problem. One of the parents' most arduous duties in the protection of the child is the protection of the child from doting grandparents. Following are listed some subversive activities engaged in by grandparents, together with appropriate countermeasures you should take. It's just crazy. You know what I mean? I'm literally reading it. It's like, so...
What are some of the subversive actions?
So, let me read you one. So, it's so funny because, like, we have friends who have their own kids, and it's just so interesting that, like, none of this This has always happened and always will happen. Number 1. The grandparent's first impulse upon seeing the grandchild is to pick him up. It matters not if the child is happy in his crib, couch, or playpen. Nor does it matter if it required a supreme effort of stamina, will, and native cunning to get him to lie there quietly in the first place. Up he's snatched. After a few minutes of knee-dandling, Grandpa glances at his watch and discovers that he's better hurry if he's going to pick up Grandma in time to make the first show. After all, he just dropped in for a few minutes and doesn't want to keep you folks. So, putting Baby back where he found him, he bids you adieu, but then you don't hear him over the mounting decibels of your infant. In this matter, as in all dealings with grandparents, be firm.
Do you think that their parents read this and were like, why'd you gotta put us on blast like this?
Probably, because parents have always been the same. Make it perfectly clear that it is your baby and he is not to be picked up without your permission. Hurt feelings may result, but that can't be helped.
All right, Kate, I'm going to give you another book. This is not necessarily their next book, because they had a few, but it's among their next few.
Oh, there's boobies on this one.
Yes, this one shocked me when I discovered its existence.
This one's got boobies, guys.
On the cover.
On the cover, and a butt.
Flip it over, too.
It's got boobies and a butt.
I just never thought I'd see the word sex on a Berenstain Bears book. Well, it's not a Berenstain Bears book, to be fair.
It's not. There's no
bears.
bestiality in this, guys.
Oh, my God.
I'm just saying. This one is Stan and Jan Berenstain, What Dr. Freud Didn't Tell You. And it's got, like, some little kids with a bat. That's weird. This
is like a little more close to their like comic.
Yeah, I can see their comic style here.
Yeah, they're like one panel comic work. It's got much less text, and it's like a series of sort of some connected, some not jokes, all related to like sex and relationships. Again, it just struck me as like, wow, I just didn't think the Berenstains would have a book like this. But right, like it's similar to their baby book in that it's just like about a human experience.
Yeah,
has funny illustrations, has little wise but funny points in it, and presumably that's a picture of them on the back cover.
I think, right?
I mean, you can compare it to this.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
They're just so cute. So it's a young tween boy, and assuming like a young tween girl, but the girl has gone through puberty overnight, and it says a difference in rates of maturation is another factor contributing to disharmony between the sexes. And this kid has like buck teeth. He's like, oh, why don't you want to play marbles, Marjorie? Last week you wanted to play marbles, Marjorie. Gee whiz, Marjorie. And Marjorie's up there in like her little capri pedal pushers, like looking for a date, you know? This illustration is so funny.
Well, it's like you're seeing their style. It's their style that you associate kind of with the bears, but they're drawing humans, and especially on the cover, they're drawing like sexualized humans. It's just, it's very jarring. All right, Kate, you ready? You ready to buckle in?
Yeah, let's do it.
The Berenstain Bears, as you well know, is a series of children's books that began in 1962 and is technically still happening. Looks like, as of this recording, the most recent book was published in 2020. But as far as I can tell, the recent published books are reprints of older ones and collections, so I'm not 100% sure when the last new story was written. But to prepare for this episode, Kate, I did something I don't know if I've ever done in the history of our podcast. I read a book. An entire book.
Oh, it was really hard.
It was hard to read a book,
difficult.
Kate. I read a book called Down a Sunny Dirt Road, which is an autobiography of the husband and wife duo who wrote and illustrated all the Berenstain Bears books together. This autobiography came out in 2002. They literally wrote it together, so in the early parts of the book, it's alternating chapters about their childhoods written by like each of them, and then it kind of coalesces in just some co-written chapters about their like rise to fame and the later part of their careers, that kind of stuff. It's a really quick read. Like I read it in 2 days. I absolutely loved it, and you got to read this book.
Okay.
You'll enjoy it.
You did cry a couple times too.
It's it's a really fun read. It's very beautiful. So just some tidbits from the book. I'm not going to summarize the entire thing, but just to give you kind of the broad strokes of this story. Stanley Berenstain and Janice Grant were both born in 1923 in Philadelphia. Stanley grew up in Philadelphia. Janice grew up in Philly for some of her life and in the suburbs. She moved back and forth a few times because of the Great Depression. It's really interesting. Like her family would like do the traditional thing of like, we're living in the city limits. We made enough money. We're going to move out to the burbs. And then it was the Depression, so then they couldn't afford to do that, back to the city, and then they bounced back and forth a little bit.
Interesting.
They were both interested in art and design from a young age, so they both ended up attending the Pennsylvania Museum and School of Industrial Design for college, which is where they met in their freshman year drawing class. They hit it off and started studying together. In the book, they both, and it's like, I don't think they like wrote their chapters blindly and then compared them, but it's fun to imagine that. The whole thing is like they would go look at sculptures at the museum part of this institution, and they would have to draw them, and then they would look at their drawings and, you know, go like talk to each other. And Jan had picked like the most difficult sculpture, like no one else picked it, and her drawing was the best. And like they both say that. He's like, I went to talk to her because her drawing was the best, and she's like, my drawing was the best. In their separate chapters.
Good for Janice. I
Anyway.
like that confidence.
So that's how they met, and then they just like, you know, they started hanging out more and like talking about school, but obviously they like hit it off. They like to go to the Philadelphia Zoo together, or they would sit together and draw bears.
Oh.
Interesting.
Wow.
Supposedly, it's not so much that they liked bears, but at this time, the bears were in kind of a secluded section, so they could go be alone. Like, the other students wouldn't be near them. Because, like, they'd all the students would go and draw at the, Anyway, interesting that they were drawing bears. Okay, but then their little love story gets interrupted because Pearl Harbor happened, and Stanley was drafted into World War II. This would be...
Stanley.
It's supposed to be their sophomore year of school,
Yeah.
but he literally is like, I gotta go. So Janice finishes her degree at, they called it Industrial. At Industrial, that's what they keep calling it. Eventually, though, this institution splits up, and the museum part becomes the Philadelphia Museum of Art, and the college part becomes University of the Arts, which
R.I.P.
when I wrote these notes was still a school, but it abruptly shuttered in a really kind of shady way recently. But she also, while finishing school, took a job riveting plane wings.
Of course
for
she did.
the war effort. So she worked like crazy hours doing that. She literally was one of those Rosie the Riveter people, you know? Like she'd have to get like curled up in a ball and go in a wing, and, you know, they were doing this in Philly. She took scrap of the metal she was using to make plane wings and made 2 engagement rings for her and Stanley.
Of course she did.
Because they had discussed getting engaged before he went off, but it wasn't like 100% official. So she mailed him his. And when you see like pictures...
She was like, all right, we're doing it.
Yeah, when you see pictures of him in the military, he's wearing his little
Aw.
scrap metal ring.
Oh, no.
Here we go. Wait till you read it. This is just my poor summary. Stanley was not ever deployed overseas, though, because he had amblyopia. I have this, but I don't know how to say it. So that's basically a lazy eye, right? So they put him in a special division for guys with bad eyesight. And in the book, it's really funny because he's like, I don't know why I got, like, a bunch of us got pulled into this special unit. And then he's like looking around, and they all have like thick glasses, and like it's the guys who can't see so good. So while he was doing his training, his commanding officers realized he was really good at art. So they started using him in that way. He would paint murals on the base, like they would make him do that kind of stuff. And eventually he started working in the surgery tent, making surgical illustrations, which is really wild. Those are in the book. You can see them. Like he would sit there with the surgeon working on gnarly World War II injuries, and he would have to make these like detailed illustrations as like instructional pieces. So anyway, after the war, Stanley was stuck in the military for a while because the way they would send you home was in the order of priority. It was like married fathers first, right? Married men next, and he was not married yet. So he got like, he was the last person basically to go home. He was in the United States, but far away. So during that time, while he was just waiting, it sounds like a weird time, like the war's over, he's just waiting to get sent home. He doesn't have that much to do. So he drew a lot of comic illustrations. Like he decided, when I get home, I'm going to make my full-time living drawing basically like New Yorker cartoons.
Okay.
Right? So he's studying these at the library where he's stationed, and he's just drawing them all the time. He draws 4 of what he thinks are his best while he's still in the military, and he mails them out, and all 4 of them were purchased immediately, right? So he gets home, and he's like, Jan, this is it. We're going to do this. And they're going to work together. This is their thing. And I could not, even reading this book and researching it, I can't figure out like what's the division of responsibility when they're working. So as far as I know, they both do everything. Like they both draw, they both write, you know what I mean? They both are kind of equally working on this. So they get home, they team up, and they are working on illustrations, and he's fully confident we are going to be freelance magazine comic artists for the New Yorker or whoever. But then an entire year went by and they could not sell another one. So like he got really sort of lucky with his first 4, gave him a ton of confidence. They literally could not sell a single comic. Okay, so long story short, they were told later their comics were too intellectual. Like the jokes were like too... It's stuff like a guy who looks like an abstract Picasso painting a self-portrait, and it's super realistic. Okay. You know, it's like jokes like that. That's one of them.
Yeah, you got to think it through.
It's like a little highbrow, right? Yeah. And the editors of these magazines, I forget the exact word they use, but they're like, we sell magazines to people who just like, they don't want to think about this stuff. He said something kind of insulting to people's intelligence, you know? And he's like, make it relatable. So they did. They started making more like funny jokes about like being part of a family and raising kids, and like it's how you get to the baby book and their sex book. So they retooled their comic ideas, and they started almost immediately after making them a little like more relatable, less intellectual, selling them and making their full-time living. In 1951, they wrote their parenting book called The Berenstain's Baby Book, based on their experience as young parents, because now they have young kids. They would write more books like this, How to Teach Your Children About Sex Without Making a Complete Fool of Yourself. The one we just looked at, The Facts of Life for Grown-Ups, which I think, what was its name called by the time you got it?
What Dr. Freud didn't tell you.
Yeah, they changed the name at some point in its reprintings. One called Have a Baby, My Wife Just Had a Cigar. Stuff like that. Like books that are funny, relatable, kind of about their life in a relatable way. Starting in 1956, they had a comic strip called It's All in the Family.
Okay.
In McCall's magazine. And they wrote this comic from 1956 until 1989.
Oh my God.
It moved from McCall's to Good Housekeeping at one point. In their autobiography, though, I really like this. They throw shade at the TV show All in the Family. Their comic was called It's All in the Family, and it predates All in the Family. And they say that they stole their name. And they point out, I think it's Stan speaking in this chapter, he points out how they don't find bigots to be lovable ever. He like makes a reference to, it was exactly what you were saying when we did All in the Family
Stan
for this podcast.
and Jan and me, we're all in the same boat here.
Yeah, they were like, oh, it's that show with a lovable bigot. However, we don't ever find bigots to be lovable in any context. I was like,
Thank
wow,
you.
That's amazing. Anyway, I thought that was cool. Okay, anyway, so then their next sort of like published books are collections of this comic because it was so long lasting. They had tons and tons of them. After a few years, they decided they wanted a more reliable stream of income than like freelancing comics and comic strips. So they tried to break into writing children's books. They were largely inspired by a guy you might have heard of called Dr. Seuss, whose 1957 book, The Cat in the Hat, was a phenomenon. I didn't realize this, but like part of the reason Dr. Seuss is so famous, he like revolutionized children's books. Because his whole thing was The Cat in the Hat came out and it had a limited number of words, and they were words that like, they were short, all kids could learn. Like it's an incredibly well-researched like piece of literature. I didn't quite understand that until reading about this. They're inspired by him. A lot of people were. He kind of kickstarted a revolution in children's lit. His publisher, Random House, started an imprint called Beginner Books, specifically because Cat in the Hat was so successful and they want more books like that. So Stanley and Janice decide to write a children's book. It's about a family of bears where the father bear wants to give the son bear a whooping, and the son bear pleads with him and suggests alternative punishments that like would be fun for him. So like instead of getting spanked, he'd have to go out and search for honey. You know, he's like suggesting things he likes. But literally the whole premise of the book is the son bear is like trying to negotiate his way out of getting corporal punishment. So they get set up with a meeting with Dr. Seuss himself, who becomes their mentor and helps them revise the book. And the way they describe their meetings with him, he sounds like brutal. It's like Whiplash.
Yeah.
Right? He is like extremely exacting. It's just so interesting because he writes these whimsical books, right? But he like does not have fun doing it. Like he's like, it is a science. Like we're going to make this perfect. So he's very exacting.
Just aggressive.
And he told them they have a good concept, but they need to revise it heavily. And eventually that book becomes this book, Kate.
Oh, The Big Honey Hunt.
And this came out in 1962. Basically, the like honey hunting segment of the original book, he's like, no, that's your book. But it wasn't until their second book, which I do not have here because that wasn't, you know, our budget for this episode is not that big. Our budget from thriftbooks.com.
Listen.
Their second book, The Bike Lesson, in 1964, that's when Dr. Seuss came up with two of the iconic trademarks that definitely help these books become so successful. In that second book, it's the first time they're credited as Stan and Jan. He's like, your names rhyme, guys. Like, use the rhyming, because go back to the cover of The Great Honey Hunt. Is it Stannis or Stanley and Janice?
Stanley and Janice,
yeah. It took Dr. Seuss to realize that their names rhyme and they should be credited that way. And he added a little blurb to the cover that said, another adventure of the Berenstain Bears. That wasn't their idea. That's all Dr. Seuss, right? Because The Great Honey Hunt doesn't say it. And you're looking at the most, it's not an original printing, but it's done in the original art. Eventually, there's a version of The Great Honey Hunt where they look more like, and it says the Berenstain Bears, but this is how it looked when it came out. Once they hit that stride, they continue to crank out Berenstain Bears books, usually with stories where the father tries to teach the son how to do something, but he's actually bad at it, right? That's like the premise of all the early ones. He's like, son, now here's how you do it. And he like gets hurt, you know, and it's a bad suggestion. They do this for about 12 years. These are both the beginner's books line and another line later, which is called the Bright and Early, which are even easier for kids to read. Like they're for even younger kids. Then in 1972, they wrote a book called The Berenstain Bears' New Baby. And this is a new imprint that they came up with called First Time Books. This is what like the ones that I remember as a kid, and I don't think I read these nearly as much as you, but this is what I associate with the Berenstain Bears. the first time books. These are books where the characters are experiencing something for the first time. You know? So a sibling being born, going to the doctor, moving, right? That's like kind of the bread and butter of the Berenstain Bears for the rest of their kind of time, I feel like. Stan dies in 2005. Jan dies in 2012. There are over 700 Berenstain Bears books now. Some are chapter books, including one about guns called No Guns Allowed, where their son Mike Berenstain has taken over writing and illustrating.
Good for the Berenstains. Good for those bears.
And, like, that's cool, but then their son Mike started to make them, like, Christian.
Oh, no. Mike, what are you doing?
You know, which is like,
Mike.
I'm glad that Mike, if he's gonna make these books have religious propaganda in them, I'm glad he still has a No Guns Allowed book, because unfortunately it feels like in America it's like...
Yeah, sometimes
like,
that Venn
those are
diagram's a circle.
Yeah, I'm confused. Anyway, so he has this, like, overt Christian slant to it, which is like, if you want to be Christian, that is fine. I'm not anti-Christian. However, I think these beautiful children's books about universal experiences do not need to pick one religion.
Also, bears don't have religion, guys.
So, like, literally there's a book called The Berenstain Bears, God Loves You. The Berenstain Bears Discover God's Creation. Like, so they dabbled in religion earlier when they were both alive in a 1999 book called The Berenstain Bears and the Big Question. Did you ever read that one?
I don't think so.
It's where the girl bear, the daughter bear.
Sister bear?
Yeah, is just will not stop asking her mom about, like, what's God? Like, it's actually a very relatable,
Very universal
very funny
experience,
book.
yeah.
And they handle it well. I actually read that book in prep for this because I'm like, wait a minute, were they always Christian? They weren't. Anyway, but it seems that Mike, their son, is like all in on Berenstain Bears. He kind of ruined it. Anyway, speaking of Christianity, Kate, the first animated adaptation of the Berenstain Bears was the 1979 Christmas special, The Berenstain Bears Christmas Tree on NBC. Let me know if you've seen any of these as I rattle them off.
Okay, go ahead.
Have you?
No.
No. Maybe we'll watch it this Christmas. In 1980, their next animated special is Thanksgiving. The Berenstain Bears meet Big Paw. In 1981, the Berenstain Bears Easter Surprise. So you can see they're following the sort of Peanuts tradition of, like, take this thing, start adapting it only with holiday specials. 1982, the Berenstain Bears Comic Valentine. 1983, the Berenstain Bears Play Ball. That one's not holiday themed, it's just about baseball. And finally in 1985, they get a proper TV series called The Berenstain Bears Show. It was developed by Joe Cates. It's credited as based on the Berenstain Bears by Stan and Jan Berenstain, and it aired on CBS Saturday mornings from September 14th, 1985 to March 7th, 1987. It ran for 2 seasons and 52 episodes. Later, there was another TV show, Kate, just called The Berenstain Bears. It ran for 40 episodes on PBS Kids from 2002 to 2003. Notable here, Michael Cera is the voice of Brother Bear, which I think is interesting. Around the same time as Arrested Development, or maybe right before it.
Yeah.
This show, though, which I like that they did this as someone who's so obsessed with old media and continuity and context. It's technically supposed to be a continuation of the 80s show. Like, they never remade any of the 80s episodes.
Okay.
Instead, they adapted books they either didn't adapt or books that had been written after 1987.
Got it.
The shows were never packaged together. Like, they never were aired as one long thing. They look different. The cast is different. And that person, Joe Cates, who's credited as developing the old one, is not credited here. But I'm happy the way they did it. I would like to watch one episode of each, because though we were a little older when the 2002 show was on, we weren't that much older.
True.
We would have barely grown out of Berenstain Bears. I definitely saw it, probably in the morning before school or something when I had a TV on and shouldn't have. From the old show, I would like to watch Season 1, Episode 11, Too Much Birthday.
Oh, classic.
Right?
And we say it every kid's birthday.
Right? Yeah, that's
As
a
a
big
family.
thing in your family.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't decide from the newer show that's still, 20 to 30 years old almost now. So I'm going to give you a choice. Do you want to watch Too Much Junk Food or Go to the Doctor?
Oh, both classics in the book world.
Uh-huh.
I think we should watch Too Much Junk Food because Mama Bear lights her family up for getting too chubby, which seems like really insensitive.
That's Season 1, Episode 13 of
Mama
the new
Bear,
show.
you're the one buying the food.
And just the last
Why are you so mad that your kids are fat?
last tidbit here, I just want to mention, you did your, it feels like like so many of these books.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like, you read a lot of these books. I was not the biggest Berenstain Bears kid on earth. I did like them. I do have a nostalgic fondness for them. They were in my world. I wasn't a big enough reader, sadly.
You didn't meet them, though.
Did you meet them?
Yeah.
You met Stan and Jan?
Yeah. They would, go hang out at our local bookstore. And they would sign books.
So you have signed books? The ones at your house are signed?
Not all of them, surely.
The ones currently getting destroyed by the next generation are signed?
Yeah. They were really nice people.
Yeah, did you have a conversation with them?
I mean, I was little.
Did you meet them on more than one occasion?
Yeah, and that's how I knew they weren't real bears.
And, what'd you talk about? Were you like, I like your books?
Yeah, you just said hi to them. And they said hi. And they had, Cute little old people hair.
Well, here they're on the cover of Down a Sunny Dirt Road. Is that what they looked like when you met them? This is from 2002.
I would say Jan had a little more of like a bowl cut situation.
Check them out on the back, though. Would you let Stan Berenstain text you at 3 a.m.?
At 1 a.m., surely. I wouldn't let anyone text me at 3 a.m., but if Stan sent me a 1 a.m. you up, I'd be like, you know what, Stanley, I am up.
I think you text back, while I appreciate this, you seem to be obsessed with your wife, so what's up with this?
Yeah, that's true. He would be too obsessed with his wife to text me.
Yeah,
which
he would never do that.
I get.
Well, in second grade, Kate, when we had a day at school where you were supposed to dress as your favorite book character, I dressed as Brother Bear. Though he was not actually my favorite character. I probably didn't have a favorite book character. It was easy.
Yeah.
What does he wear?
You just needed a red shirt and jeans.
Yep. What did you dress as? Did you do that day at school?
We had dress as your favorite author day at one point, and I dressed up as Jack London because, you know.
What did you wear?
I just wore like a flannel shirt and green pants, which I imagine that Jack London would have worn. He was like really eccentric. He was not well. He was like the first furry, I think.
How old were you?
I was in 4th grade. We're not going to talk about why Jack London was the first furry. We'll save that for a different podcast, but just let it be known.
But you never had to dress as a book character? They didn't do that for you?
I don't think so. I think if I did, I probably would have been like Hermione Granger, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, are you ready? Oh, you know what? I have more books here.
Oh, spooky old tree, classic. Look at that spooky tree.
That seems to be, was that your favorite?
My favorite? No, I love the Berenstain Bears Go to the Doctor.
The Doctor. I remember reading that.
I was obsessed with going to the doctor as a child.
I remember reading that at school as a little boy in like first or second grade. And in it somewhere, they're like, do not let anyone look at your private parts except your doctor or your parents, right? Like, that's in the book. And I remember seeing that and being like, I don't know, like shocked.
You're scared.
Like, yeah, even though I think I knew that, I was just like, seeing it in print was for some reason shocking to me.
You were like, oh no.
Maybe it was just the mention of private parts. And then also here, Kate, we have the treasury with 5 books. What are the 5? Okay, this has New Baby. You know New Baby? Here, have you read these? The New Baby?
Yes.
The Sitter.
Yes.
In the Dark.
Yes.
Going to the Doctor.
Obviously, many times as a very anxious kid.
How about The Messy Room?
Oh, yeah. Classics. All.
Did you, have you based some of your values on what they taught in these books? It actually seems like it. Because when the room's messy, you really...
I do freak out, and the mom bear does freak out when the room is messy.
I just want to see if I could find that message about your private parts. I feel like it's not in here. Am I imagining it?
No, I definitely remember that too.
Huh. Maybe it was on the back cover or something.
Sweetie, what's the matter? It's your birthday. Why are you so upset?
It isn't fair. I was the first one out in musical chairs. I didn't get my donkey game prize. I got bounced on the ponies and sick on the merry-go-round. And I don't want to have 6 cups. I only want to have 3.
I feel like they also showed these at school when they ran out of curriculum.
Yeah,
it was pre-No Child Left Behind, and they were like, all right, we'll watch the Berenstain Bears for 15 minutes, just for the love of God, rest.
Yeah, we were a little too young for the 80s show, but definitely we saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Papa Bear's not carrying that saw safely.
No. So it's nice. Got an environmental message. Mm-hmm. He's like, all right, we're going to cut this tree down, but then we're going to plant a bunch of trees. Great.
It must be exhausting for this Mama Bear to always be right.
Listen, I get it. All right, Mama Bear's just trying to have a chilled out 6th birthday, and it's not working. It's not going her way. The Berenstain Bears tackled the birthday industrial complex.
Yeah, I want Mama Bear to be like, this hyper-consumption is what's killing America.
These parent bears really need to communicate.
All their books have been so personal. I assume they wrote this whole book just to justify to one of their kids why we're not getting a pony for your birthday. Look what happens.
This party's out of control.
Why are they playing Spin the Bottle under the supervision of their parents?
Did you ever do Pin the Tail on the Donkey?
I don't think I ever did. Did you?
Pin the Tail on the Donkey, pin the Olympic medal on the Olympic medalist.
Were there real pins involved?
I think it was sticky.
Just the sister bear crying at her own birthday.
Listen, we've all been at a birthday party like this. Whether it's a 6th birthday or a 32nd birthday.
Are you supposed to know how many children you want to have in your life by the time you're 6?
I mean, I did.
She's like, I don't want to have 6 cups. I only want to have 3. When did you make that decision?
Yeah, why are we thanking Papa for the party? Mama has made the cake. She has planned it. She is sweeping up.
Welcome back. I have a surprise for my 3... Huh? Sweetsy cola?
The ice cream made us thirsty.
Ice cream? Oh, I suppose you're too full to enjoy this healthy meal I've made.
Well, you know how a scoop of raspberry ripple can fill you up.
That's 3 scoops, Papa.
And don't forget they were chocolate dipped with cookie crumbs, too.
I held off on the rainbow sprinkles.
Looks like you're having leftovers tomorrow.
Let's jump ahead in time. 10 years. More. 15 years.
Okay. I don't like these new bears.
You don't like the way they look?
Yeah.
They're just like humans, only more so.
Oh my god. Horrifying puppet show. Damn. Mama's just roasting her husband, which is incredible.
Papa's gonna have a heart attack. He's like, I can still run just as fast as when I was younger. I'm gonna enter this race after not running for decades.
I don't think there was like a bear country race in the book. I feel like, and maybe we'll see it later, but the big impetus in the book is that Mama Bear notices that her kids and dad are just like getting pudgier. And there's like illustrations of them getting fat. Maybe they toned down the anti-fat rhetoric. The Berenstain Bears embrace body neutrality. These bears have exercise-induced asthma. They live in a moldy tree. Mama Bear's ready to murder everyone in this family.
She made them a healthy dinner, but they're too full of ice cream and soda to eat it. They're eating a junk food that's literally just called sugar balls.
The bears have run into their doctor at the grocery store, and she's like, your whole family needs to come to my doctor's office. You got some stuff going on.
Got too much junk food in your cart. Papa Bear's pants are bursting off of him.
Is Dr. Grizzly a dietitian?
I think in their little backwoods bear town, their doctor has to do it all. Okay, so this is the nervous system?
Yeah.
I was like, that's not a skeleton.
It's a squiggly skeleton.
Uh-oh, are we going to learn about the food pyramid? I feel personally attacked by this episode. The doctor's telling me I can't have all the sweets and treats that I want. Yeah, so you're saying they toned down how they handled this topic?
Oh my god, Tyler, this book absolutely roasts the kids and the dad. It's like, look how fat they're getting.
Here, the mother is like politely concerned, but the doctor gently explains it.
Yeah, there's no doctor, I don't think, in the book. Dr. Grizzly took their popcorn and now she's eating the popcorn. Incredible. Mama Bear's like, why are you throwing out all this food?
They just need a little addendum to this where it's like, what about bears who live in a food desert? Why have corporations been increasing the amount of added sugars to foods that do not need them?
Never eat junk food again.
What a joyless existence.
I feel like these little videos obviously aren't as fun as the books, not as good. It's just more fun to read a book.
The book was better, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I feel like at the end of the day, this,
I'd rather have someone read to me.
Right, so you're not just associating these as, like, books you read. You were so little, these were being read to you, so that's a whole nother element to it. Yeah, it's interesting, like, I wasn't a big enough reader as a kid. Not that my parents never read to me, but not as much, I think, as you. And I watched way more TV. It's like these are for totally different audiences, like the book and the cartoon almost. You know what I mean? And it does seem like sort of the special thing about the books are that they are books. So to adapt them into a TV show maybe takes the magic away a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, and I really wanted to see the mom in roast mode.
Yeah.
And they took that away.
I mean, it's probably better that she wasn't.
Yeah, they handled it okay.
Yeah, they handled it in an all right way. I would have rather seen the Berenstain Bears practice body neutrality.
Well,
but,
it was they never even mentioned weight.
Yeah.
It was all about being in shape in the sense that, like, can you do the things you want to do?
That's true.
Without a lot of discomfort. So, actually, they handled it with a pretty light touch there. A gentle touch. I don't know, Kate. What's God?
What is God? What is God?
Yeah, would you like better 1980s or early 2000s?
1980s, I think.
Yeah, it's charming, right? It's got that. It's got a little something special to the
really
age
does.
of it. The wobbly cell animation sometimes where you can like see the cell move.
Yeah, where it's like.
I love that. Yeah, they were okay. They were fine. But yeah, I like actually even now as an adult who didn't really read these books a lot, I've been enjoying flipping through these books, admiring the artwork.
Yeah.
You know, a little more. And there's just something about the art on the page you cannot replicate exactly in the cartoon.
And you love a husband and wife duo who are obsessed with each other.
Oh, yeah. My favorite part of this whole thing between watching these, looking through the books, and researching was reading that book, Down a Sunny Dirt Road. It's absolutely wonderful. And it has illustrations all throughout it in their style of, like, going to see King Kong in a movie theater, you know, going to a dance together, plus tons and tons of photographs of them young. So
yeah, so if you want to join the Not-Stalgia book club, it's not a real book club, but
no. Yeah,
you can get it on thrift books.
Well, I ordered it on Amazon and it never came, which doesn't happen very often, and it was hard to get a refund, so I had to go in thrift books. Yeah, it's called Stan and Jan Berenstain, Down a Sunny Dirt Road, an autobiography.
Write in if you would let Stan or Jan text you at 1 a.m.
Wow. Highly recommend this. It's amazing. If you have any nostalgic fondness for the Berenstain Bears at all, I think you will enjoy this book. Okay, Kate, thanks for going a trip down memory lane there. We got to give these books to a kid.
All right.
One of our friends with kids, because we don't have enough room on our bookshelf for them. Tune in next week. Catch you later.
They're the funniest and furriest family on video.
Count on it.
They're the Berenstain Bears.
We are the Berenstain Bears.
Mama.
Papa.
Sister. Brother.
We appreciate each other. They're the beloved characters from the oldest and largest selling continuous book series in the world.
And what could be finer than that?
And now they're starring in some of the most wonderful adventures on video.
Roaring fires, raging rivers.
I don't know if I can stand the excitement.
They're award-winning stories about everyday life experiences.
And trust is not something you can put back together again once it's broken.
And most of all, they're just plain fun.
Absolutely.
So join Papa, Mama, brother, and sister for great family entertainment that your little cubs can barely wait to get their paws into.
Boy, this is gonna be some party.
The Berenstain Bears. There's more fun on each video than ever before, so collect them all.